So we are back again. Another game reaction sponsored by IamSad.com. The Leafs got shut out in Game 1 of their play-in series against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Now, wait a minute. I know I had a big blow-up for the Edmonton game, but that's because the Oilers freaking sucked and they did not show up. They showed up for about 2 minutes and then decided to stop playing for 2 periods and only picked it up in the 3rd period. So that's why we had a blow-up. Not all of these reaction videos are going to be big blow-ups, especially today, because it's a pretty popular opinion right now that the Leafs played absolutely terribly, and I don't know if I agree with it 100%. I feel like this was something that fans were not expecting. Fans were expecting a really open series with a lot of just weird hockey going on and a lot of high scoring because we haven't had hockey in a while. But, man, these guys have had a training camp and they are fighting for their playoff lives, so they don't have any sort of early season lollygagging going on. So the Columbus Blue Jackets came out and played some really damn good defense. As much as you want to blame the Toronto Maple Leafs for not scoring goals, You can't say that without saying that the Columbus Blue Jackets played a hell of a defensive hockey game, man. Absolutely nothing was getting through the middle. And listen, part of that was on the Leafs. Absolutely. They could have done a better job of moving the puck quickly, especially through the neutral zone, because holy moly does this team suck at transition. For a team that has this much skill, I don't understand what the holdup is when their defensemen get the puck. Well, the holdup is probably their defenseman. But what I'm saying is they should be a lot better than they are in transition, and they just aren't. Whenever you have a team that isn't offensive heavy, that isn't focused on offense playing against them, forget about it. They can't move through the neutral zone, and they have to fix that. Ironically, they have to watch Bruins game tape. Sure, you do have to watch a little bit of game tape from last night to see what they did and what you can do to counter it, but watch the Boston Bruins destroy the Columbus Blue Jackets last season in the playoffs. Watch that. See what they did. See how they picked apart that system. Some things have changed a little bit, but it's still relatively the same system. You see the pairing, right, of Werenski and Jones. They are still doing the same thing. They are still being very aggressive. Watch how the Bruins took advantage of that last year and incorporate a little bit of that into your game plan, because what the Leafs were doing yesterday was just not working, man. And the Leafs had a few chances, man. Early on, Robertson almost, if he puts that puck a little bit further toward the post or a little bit higher just above the pad, that is a big 1-goal lead for the Leafs, and Robertson is the one who gets it, and the boys are happy for him, and they're like, holy shit, this kid is real. We have a legitimate contributor down there on the bottom 6. It just didn't happen. Okay, great save. Matthews hits the post. It could have been 2-0 at that point, and it just wasn't. It is what it is, man. You got to fight through that kind of thing and keep playing. I think the problem with the Leafs is Babcock told them to shoot the puck from the point for so long, and then Keefe came over and revolutionized their game plan, that now they are afraid of taking outside shots. I don't think you need to be afraid of taking outside shots against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Take those shots. Matthews in the first period was actually pretty good at getting to the front of the net. Take those shots, create some chaos out in front, and then you never know what's going to happen. It's hockey. We're playing with knives under our feet on an ice surface with a freaking puck that slides all over the place. There's going to be bounces, man. Just create chaos. Create things that are going to happen. You're not going to beat the Columbus Blue Jackets with perfect passing plays. It's not going to happen. Speaking of not going to happen, can Cody Ceci get off the lineup? What do you do on this team? What do you do here? You're not a defensive stalwart. He gets beat quite a bit, like a fair bit. He can't move the puck. We've seen that. And those 2 penalties, man, especially that second one. Oh my God, he was literally not even close to touching the puck. He just jabbed at somebody's skate for no reason. And he goes to the box for tripping. I mean, what else are you going to do, man? Cody Ceci has either got to turn it around, start doing something. Contribute something to the lineup. I don't want you to score 40 points. That's not what Cody Ceci does. I just want him to do something and be good at something. You know who was not a big point scorer, but it was a huge defensive force? Not really a mobile guy, but just someone who was intense and a jerk to play with? Ottawa Senators Marc Methot. That guy was a beast out in front of his net. If Cody Ceci can do that and just be a dick, just be an absolute jerk out in front of his net, they got a player. They got a significant player, okay? I'm not saying he's going to change games or anything, but it's better than being a liability. And other players also need to step it up. I mean, John Tavares, nothing. Absolutely nothing from John Tavares in that game. Kasperi Kapanen, listen, I love Kasperi Kapanen. When he's on, he's one of my favorite Toronto Maple Leafs players. Great penalty killer, elite speed, and if he can just put it together, he is at the brink of greatness. Okay, he is at the brink of being a really, really high-quality top 6 player. If he can just put it together, but he makes some brain fart mistakes. He is like an EA computer. That's what he's like. Breakaway. He had a breakaway and just turned away from it without even shooting the puck. On some EA AI bullshit. That's what Kasperi Kapanen does. Oh, man, and it pains me to say this. I have one Maple Leafs jersey, and it is Kasperi Kapanen. And I would just love it if, for once, Kasperi Kapanen was the hero and not a punchline. You feel me? Because I do think he has the ability to play at that kind of level. Oh, my goodness. Okay. It just really sucks for the Toronto Maple Leafs that they got an all-world performance from Frederik Andersen and one of the nicest saves that you will see throughout this entire playoff run. Okay, that reach across the goal, right? Oh, with his pad, just barely getting the pad on it. That was a weird goal. That was a beautiful save. A 10-bell save right there. And it's a shame that he only allows one goal and the Leafs can't freaking win for him. They can't get him any offense. They remind me of how Henrik Lundqvist looked against the Carolina Hurricanes today. It's just, he was pretty much alone because the Rangers didn't do shit for this man, which is very unfortunate because he deserves a Stanley Cup, damn it. I thought Mikheyev, a lot of people say Mikheyev was quiet, but that's mostly, I feel, because Tavares didn't do anything. I feel like Mikheyev was actually one of the better Maple Leafs, especially in that first period. He was everywhere. He was skating hard. He was doing stuff. Listen, he's never going to do anything dynamic. Okay, he's not the guy that's going to skate through 3 defenders and make a beautiful play for a teammate to tap it in or just snipe it under the bar. That's not what Ilya Mikheyev does. What Ilya Mikheyev does is bring high intensity and some good awareness to his line, and I thought he delivered that for a fair portion of the game, but most importantly, the first period. And Matthews just scored right there in gameplay. I thought he had an okay game. He didn't play that poorly. He had a few opportunities. One of them was a great save by Korpisalo. The other one hit the post. I mean, what are you going to do? He could have had 2 goals had a few inches been different in this universe, okay? Now, I know that this sport is not coulda, woulda, shoulda. I'm just saying Auston Matthews did create some opportunities and was on the cusp of getting goals, all right? Don't be getting on Auston Matthews for that one. He was actually one of the few that got something going. We need a little bit more out of you, like an extra gear, but Auston Matthews was not terrible that game. But ultimately, man, it was just one of those games. This was exactly what the Columbus Blue Jackets wanted. They just shut it down. They clogged up the middle, and they stayed back, and they stayed back, and they did their best, but they didn't take too many chances offensively. They just kept coming back. Always 3 guys skating backwards in the freaking neutral zone, and then they got one opportunity. One poor play at a weird change, at a bad pinch. Big chance, and who else? It's freaking Cam Atkinson. Like, out of anyone on the Columbus Blue Jackets you don't want to leave in that chance, it's probably Cam Atkinson. Cam Atkinson is one of the last guys you want to leave open there, okay? I understand if you're going to say Dubois might be that guy, but I don't know, man. Cam Atkinson just has a wicked shot. He is one of the most underrated scorers in this league, I find. Not a lot of people talk about him, but he is a really, really just instant offense kind of guy. And what I mean by instant offense is not much is going on, Atkinson has the puck. Snipe! I'm like, whoa, okay, that's the type of play that Cam Atkinson brings. I love him. Okay, he is one of my favorite players on the Blue Jackets, right up there with Nick Foligno. Korpisalo made some highlight reel saves and ended up with a well-deserved shutout. I mean, well-deserved. And the Leafs just got to regroup. They got to rethink their approach. They got to add a little bit of skating and a little bit of intensity to their breakout and their neutral zone play. Everything that's related to transition. If they can do that, they can beat this team. They really can. Okay, it's not impossible. Oh, and create some chaos out in front of the goal. For God's sakes, stop looking for the perfect play. It's not going to happen. It's just not. You are playing the Columbus Blue Jackets. Get a clue. That's pretty much all I got to say about this Leafs loss, man. It is only game one, and it wasn't as much of a slap in the face as, even if they got shut out, it wasn't a slap in the face like the Oilers game was, man. I feel like Toronto, and maybe they didn't play quite as well as I thought they did, and my bar was just set at Edmonton Oilers, who had just a shit performance against the Blackhawks, but I thought they didn't play that horribly, and what they didn't do right is fixable. Okay, it is very fixable. And last thing before we leave, man, seeing that Seth Jones and Zach Werenski pairing, and then seeing Morgan Rielly on the other end of the ice, I'm just like, what could be, man? What could be? If you give Morgan Rielly a good defensive partner, okay? I'm not saying someone below average or average. If you give him a good defensive partner who can actually skate and create plays, this is what the Leafs could have for their first pair. It would be probably shocking defensively, okay? But it would have a strength. Right now, Morgan Rielly is being held back by his defensive partner, and that's very unfortunate to say, because Morgan Rielly is a very, very talented hockey player. Oh my goodness. If the Leafs did this in real life, and I know this is a video game, but man, this is a lot more what I like to see, man. All right, it was a good game overall. I liked it. 1-0 series lead, which is a big hole in a 5-game series, but it's all good. They can come back tomorrow, and they can do it all over again. It's possible to do, okay? The Winnipeg Jets just evened up their series against the Calgary Flames. It's now 1-1. After they lost 3 key contributors, they still managed to pull through. Toronto, from what we know right now, hasn't lost 3 key contributors. Absolutely no excuses for the Leafs next game. Come out better. Come out with an improved game plan. Get this series tied up.